billion, 1.5 billion Eurobond, which is going to increase our cost of servicing. And he's issued a bond to give him money to pay the last bond they didn't pay. Unakopa ili ulipe mikopo. Unachimba shimo ili uziwe shimo. Which economics is that? Mimi kama mtaalamu wa masuala ya uchumi, shida ya Kenya ni mbili. Moja ni hiyo high debt reservicing cost, mambo ya kulipa deni. Ya pili ni low economic activity. Watu hawanunui kwa sababu hakuna mapato. There is no jobs. There is no income. So you cannot lower, you cannot be able to increase economic activity by increasing taxes. No. There are other tools to do that. I'm sure I'm not here to teach economics. I'm telling you, these people don't know how to run economics. And they will never know because they don't listen to anybody. Ruto's advisor tier 1 is Farouk Kibet and Oscar Sudi. The intelligent, qualified people in Kenya don't get a chance to contribute to their country. If you go to the US in Harvard professors will go and criticize the government economically, and government takes their considerations seriously and changes the economy. Like, for example, how the Harvard professors criticized Trump in his first term made Joe Biden win. You saw professors like Professor Fauci. They sided with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden won the election. In Kenya, there is no way professors can side with you and win an election. You just need the goons, you need the thugs, you need to make noise and say mama mboga, boda boda, nini, beba beba, sijui barabara toroka wapi ende wapi, hizo ukora tu ndio tunauza. No one goes arithmetical. The economics is arithmetical with a formula. I have an arithmetical formula in this book here called Solomonic Economics, Njiru. I guess that maybe at some point this book I'll give to you. Go have a look at it and you read it. It will give you a lot. There's a formula here. Benson, you know that I'm consulting for Kagame in Kigali.
Yeah.
I'm consulting for Kagame in Kigali. Kagame bought 180 books from me that is being used to turn the Rwandan economy. They asked me to become a vice chancellor in one of the universities in Kigali, and I turned it down. Now I have an offer, which I don't want to talk too much about, to go to Kigali, and I will tell you on Monday or Tuesday, Benson.
Yeah.
My student whom I taught economics, I taught strategy, is the one heading the Global Financial Center, which I wrote in a book here, and said Kenya needs to set up a global financial center to create jobs. AI will be used for trading. Online trading will create jobs for young people. You can sit on the back end, become a consultant when people are doing online trading. People are doing digital assets trading. But we have a president who is talking about wheelbarrow. How can the age of AI, wheelbarrow, be the main discussion? So I'm sorry that the president does not see this. And Jerry, do you know that in Kenya, allow me, Benson, just to talk to this, my brother here, because he's my follower, to understand my economics thinking. Eh?
No problem.
The first form of economics in the world was hunting and gathering. That's how the first population in the world ate, isn't it? The second form of economics is agriculture. You cultivate, then you eat. That's agricultural production, isn't it? The next form of economics is industrialization, where you manufacture, like you manufacture cheese, you manufacture yogurt and milk from agricultural products to eat. That's the third one. The fourth one is called deindustrialization. Deindustrialization means that the service sector, services like banking, insurance, financial transactions, telecom, become the bigger part of the economy, larger than manufacturing. You get me?
Yeah.
And then after deindustrialization, we go to technology, where you can use robots to make money. We call it reindustrialization. So in that continuum, do you know where Kenya is? Kenya has 7% of the Kenyan economy is manufacturing. The services industry has reached 63%, meaning that we have de-industrialized before industrializing. Now, if I was the president, I would now bring technology using the data to now grow the economy, using now AI with high level technology, bring sports, bring arts, bring music. That is the way you can bring young people to work using technology. But now we are being told Kapengle, Kapengle. Do you still hear about Kapengle? Now, Kapengle, do you still hear Kapengle? So Kapengle is not there because it was a scam. So what we are trying to say here is that these people cannot fix the economy. William Ruto promised too much, he can't do it. Even if you ask Raila Odinga, if you look at Raila Odinga, what is Raila Odinga's economic ideology? Do you know? And why is he called Baba?
Okay, Professor, wacha nikujibu hiyo kidogo. You see, if you go like to Bwana Baba, is economic ideology ni kuleta watu pamoja, kuunganisha. You see, that is the economic model, tukue pamoja, kuunganisha. So maybe just in 1 minute, hebu niingize kakitu kidogo hapo kwa uchumi yako vile umesema, and the issue of AI. Because many of us, Mungu ametupia nafasi ya kukua in that era. Let me tell you, there was a day when Ruto cheated the world. Sijui kama ulisikia when he was saying that the Kenyan government is now using AI to do payments. There is a statement, there was a certain, I don't know if conference or in a meeting.
It was in China.
He said that Kenya is using AI to do payments. I think that was the biggest. Ruto was unable to tell the world that they are using Excel. You see, what Kenya is using is Excel. It is not AI. Unajua kuna vitu lazima ni macolumns mnatengeneza hapo, mnaandika wale watu wanalipwa na story inaisha. But it was not AI. But when we talk about AI, even the advanced world, the AI has not formed properly. It is still in the private sector. Most of the governments have not been able to reach a level whereby they can say that AI is part of them. The private sector in China and the US is extremely far when compared to the government. That's why you saw somebody like Donald Trump, when he came to power, he tried to sign that agreement of 500 billion AI negotiation with those 3 companies, which was saying that they will begin the new era of AI. Because even the US government has not adopted AI. AI is in the private sector. So, but they have been able to see how AI has been able to create wealth for those companies. So for AI to work, AI needs brain, because AI is about coding and understanding. By the way, Bwana Ogora, hizi vitu zote tunaongea hapa sio ni vitu za darasa. I don't know why, like when I hear somebody saying that we don't need education, I cry. When I hear a class 2 dropout, Mr. Sudi, saying that naweza kuwa sijasoma na niko na skills, I asked myself, which is that doctor who can do surgery kama hajaingia darasa? Who is that doctor who can say that I have skills? Who is that engineer? You know, Bwana Ogora, let's say that before you get skills, you begin with education. Before you say you are skillful. I know you are a lawyer. If you did not go to school, by design, hungekuwa lawyer. Sababu, you cannot become a lawyer by osmosis or assimilation. So the starting point is education. Masomo tunadharau. Even these people who quit education, akina Steve Jobs, and all this, because that is the story which they always tell us, that some of these oligarchs who have become very rich in the world of technology, they did not finish school. Yes, they did not finish school, but they found meaning of school in their life, and they quit school at a point whereby they saw that I now have enough information to do something. What do I mean? Bwana Ogora, umesema vizuri sana that our government is a government of goons. A professor cannot push a needle on anything. No wonder poverty cannot abandon us. because us, we have ignored what civilizes the world. Education.
Just let me tell you something, Wenjiro. As an economist, I'm more. Let me. I don't want to take this credit, which is not. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a governance expert. So I understand law more than a normal lawyer. That's why I win cases in court. But sorry to say the truth, because many people take credit where they are. We have 5 undergraduate degree. Law is not one of them. Let me tell you something. I like your passion for education, and you have said something very fundamental. Let me give you an argument that when you tell someone, they'll never beat you down. There's a correlation between time spent in school and GDP growth. Australia has the highest number of years spent in school by average students. In Australia, is around 17 years average. Students, average citizens in Australia has been in school for 17 years. Look at their GDP. Go to Norway. Go to Sweden. Now, do you know that Australia exports education? $19.8 billion come from exporting education to contribute to GDP. What is 19 billion? Is enough for our budget. Dollars. I'm not talking about Kenya shillings. I'm talking about $19 billion. What is it? Benson, you live in the US. Maybe Jiri, you live in Kenya.
I'm in the US too.
But when you come to Kenya,
Prof,
when you drive along.
Excuse me, Prof, sorry for cutting you off. There's also one somebody who also want to engage you. Seemingly today you are going to have so many questions. I don't know, what is your take on that? You're okay with it?
No worries. I finish with Jiru, then we can engage. I have no problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jiru, when you drive along James Gichuru Road, you drive along Uhuru Highway, you drive along Mombasa Road, I've counted. There are over 32 posters telling you come and study in Australia. When you go to Uganda, Tanzania, you don't see a single poster saying come and study in Kenya. Do you know Kenyans go to study in Australia and pay in currency, in hard currency? You buy the Australian dollar and pay them to go study there. They get foreign currency from there. We export education. When your parents visit in Australia, they go visit tourism. They contribute to tourism there. For us here, we are mismanaging the education. And let me tell you now, before I end, then I can allow you. Education in Kenya received the highest budget allocation, yet people in Kenya are not allowed to use their head to make a decision. Why are we wasting a lot of money on education when we don't want educated people? Once they question you anything, you tell them, when professor, umeingia siasa, you are an activist. But I'm educated, I should keep quiet. In Luo, we say, pinchando jomariek. Yani, if you are intelligent, the world will disturb your mind. But a fool cannot be disturbed because everything is normal. Like Sudi, everything is normal for him. And Sudi is completely uneducated person. Remember when he called Sifuna a Form 4 dropout? In English, there is nothing like Form 4 dropout because a dropout means you didn't finish. You can say Form 2 dropout, Form 3. You can't say Form 4 dropout because that's not English now. He has proven he has no PhD. He has nothing to do. So we can actually make money by exporting education to Somalia, to Tanzania, to DRC, to Juba, to Uganda, our neighbor. But it is us going to study abroad because we cannot bring money to our country using what? Education. Go to the US budget, you'll realize that a big chunk of the US economy comes from education export. Because when you go to study in US, you pay school fees to Americans, and that's export. It is foreign. It's forex exchange. You get forex. So these people don't know the economy. They just manage the country like I don't know what, and that's why we are in trouble. So Economically, I agree with you. Education is essential. Education can wait for a job. A job cannot wait for education. And therefore, usimwambie mtu ati tunatoshana, wewe hauna kazi na mimi sina kazi, ulisoma na sikusoma. No. Kama ulisoma na sikusoma, umenishinda nipende nisipende. Hakuna kitu ya kusema ati masomo is useless. No, it's useful. Thank you very much, Benson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm joined with Kip. Kip, thank you so much. And we are coming live in 2 channels. That is Njiru channel and Brother Benson. So you can subscribe to those 2 channels. If you've not, we will really appreciate. Kip, do you have any question for Professor?
Yes. Thank you very much for joining us. We are tired of mainstream, the diaspora people. We're tired of mainstream media because it seems like we've become the fourth estate. We've been doing this for over 3 years. I think all of us have been grandfathered by a fellow called Tembe. That's where we all met, and we were. I don't know about Brother Benson, but we were once very big advocates of the so-called Baba. I call him Raila Amolo Odinga because he's disappointed me. My question is actually twofold questions. The first question is, why do we have Moi orphans still running us? It includes my party leader, Martha Karua. Is it because there was a vacuum created by Jomo Kenyatta, Moi's exuberant number of years ruling a country for 24 years? Or is it because people are protecting their corrupt money? So that is the first question. The second question is, actually 3. Second question is, why didn't we use either the original draft of the Bomas constitution, the original draft, not this one of a bloated government, or why did we not use the constitution that we were given after colonization? Why did we run to give power to single individuals? Because I think either the colonial constitution after the colonial period was perfect. The prime minister was perfect. That was okay, whereby you vote in a party and then you've got a prime minister and everything is good because prime ministers are not supposed to be there for forever. Or the Bomas constitution, where there was a lot of separation of power. There was a lot of there are only, I think, 8 counties, at most 10. We didn't have senators. I mean, the changes in the Bomas and the current implementation of the constitution, I believe, has been implemented wrong. So I would like to know your opinion for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kip. Professor?
Yeah, so Kip, thank you very much for highlighting. Those are very essential points, by the way. The Moi orphan is coming from what I call institutional capture. When the colonial masters left, some people captured the institution. Remember, before colonial masters came here, we were ruled through kingship system. And through kingship system, there was no one who had absolute power. Because you go to among the Kikuyus, you go among the Luos, there was a way on which there was succession in every family. It was easy. It was almost like a monarchy. But you see, when these guys came, they brought in something that changed the economy. Because before, a young man like me cannot be called Baba. Squeeze, a young man can be called Baba. You can be called Babu. When you have money, you can buy titles. Like now, I'm an elder among the Luo community. I'm an elder of the Kaya community. I've been installed. And sometimes you can buy them. I mean, sorry to say that. Maybe character like me, I didn't pay money because they just look at some talents in me and they call me and install me. I'm married from Coast, so they gave me a Kaya elder because of how I've been able to treat my wife and family, whatever. But now you can be called Baba by your elders. Ati Baba, unatakaji, because you have money. So they disrupted it. But the institutional capture means that there were institutions becoming one institution of the police and the military. So whoever captured them could use them the way they want. Secondly, the financial institution. So William Ruto controls the military and the police and the central bank. That's what the power he has. So if he decides to open central bank for you the way he's opening for Raila, you get power. If he closes for you the way he has closed for Martha Karua and Kalonzo, you don't have power. If you close central bank for Wananchi, like now in the budget, can you imagine, keep that the Kenyan budget, security is now 336 billion shillings allocated to security, while agriculture has been allocated 36 billion. So we are in a war time where more money needs to go to security, less to food. Nikama, you remove money from people's stomach and you put them in the gun. You remove money from food, you put in the gun. So who has those powers? In a country like US, there is a markup for everything. You must you do what you call quotas. You cannot just wake up and finance a country the way you want, and you have institution to check you. For example, if you go to the Senate, they might refuse. If you go to the House, they might refuse. So in Kenya, you do what you want, then you go buy the MP with money from central bank. And when young people demonstrate, you bring police and military on them. So institutional capture is the main reason. So people like Mudavadi, how did they come to power? Their father was a chief. Kenyatta extended that power to the chiefs because Kenyatta captured power by taking control of all the chiefs. That's why you saw Ruto saying that he's giving more power to the provincial administration. And by giving the more power to the provincial administration, who must adore him, he's taking power from the people and owning it. That's why the constitution was so this. So by capturing power, Moi empowered the people he wanted and suppressed the people he wanted. Anybody who was looking like could bring changes, they either died or they disappeared. And that's what Ruto is now doing. If you're intelligent, you oppose him, you disappear or you die. Or at least you lose your job. Like I was a professor in Strathmore for 12 years. I was academic director. Then the guy decided to say, I must be fired because I was in an institution of influence and I'm opposing him. And I got fired. I was told to recant my statement to go back, and I said I cannot. Me, I have said you are wrong and you're wrong, and I can go home and eat, let's say, just mboga and ugali, but I'm not here to be well fed, and I lose my intellectual freedom. So very few people have intellectual freedom to be able to stand firm and to be where they are. I could be in ODM now. I've been called by so many people. I can even say now, I met Tuju. He told me, become a PS. Raila will be given 16 PSs in the next government. There'll be changes in the government. There'll be a cabinet secretary being given. I even know one of my friends is taking a position. I met him and he told me, Professor, why don't you just accept you become a PS under my? I told him, no. I cannot serve in that government because I know what it is all about. So people were bought with money and power. So what they start by telling you, first of all, they warn you. If you don't refuse, then they seduce you with some goodies. If you don't take, then they threaten you. And if you don't take now, they kill you. So that's what they do. That's what Moi did. Look at the people whom, if they would be in Kenya, Kenya would be different. Arvin Skodek, Jem Kariuki. You will name them. I don't want to waste my time. You know them. You know Robert Ouko. You know there are many names people who went down. So some intellectuals like Anyang Nyong was given money and power. He took it, and his intellectual ability has not really featured in Kenya because of money. He's a governor where you steal money and you're okay, and you let Kenyans suffer. So these are the things which have actually happened. Now, to the second question about the Constitution of Kenya, let me tell you, the Constitution should constrain. Constitution was never meant to constrain the powers of the citizens. It was meant to constrain the powers of the politician and government because they can overuse it. That's why the Constitution protects your rights of speech, expression, freedom of movement, freedom of association, rights to demonstrate, rights to picket. So all this is given to you because the state is dangerous, not because the state is good. But unfortunately, Parliament has been emasculated, and the person who wants power is the president. So he buys the Parliament to pass what he wants. Like now, sorry, we were discussing here with Njiru about the debt. John Mbadi was the consultant for Uhuru Kenyatta when they removed the requirement that Parliament should oversight borrowing. Because before, any debt taken in Kenya had to pass through Parliament before it is actually taken as a debt. Before Uhuru Kenyatta passed that law, Kenya's budget was 2.7 trillion shillings. Now it is 11.8 trillion shillings in a span of just about 7-8 years. Our debt has grown from 2.7 trillion to 11.8 trillion. It's grown by 9 trillion in a span of those years. Yet Kenya has been there since independence, and we have only reached 2.7 trillion. So what we are trying to say here is that I said, Benson, before, the three legs of the stone. If Parliament has been bought, we see people in Parliament with stomachs ready. Now, the problem with Parliament need to be fixed in a very absolute manner. First of all, MPs come and they are told to take 2 house mortgages normally. Now, when you take 2 house mortgages and your salary is likely 2.1 million or 2 million shillings, then let's say 1.6 million thereabout, if that's your salary, and you take 2 mortgages, and your mortgage is 5 years, so it must be serviced within 5 years, and you're taking 2 mortgages. So your money goes into servicing mortgages. And also MPs, you're the village ATM, you have to spend your money. So then they have no float. That's why the president can call MPs and give them 50,000 shillings to attend a meeting. I was telling Benson before. They can be given 100,000 shillings to talk and praise the president. They can win 1 million shillings to vote against anything the government does not want and to vote for anything the government wants. So even all these things we talk about arms of government. No, there's no arms of government. There's just one person, the president. He's the arm of all governments. There's nothing like legislature. They'll do more or less what they want. So as you said it, we know what we want. It was in Bomas. Remember when the Bomas draft was named to be Bomas draft, then when they changed it, it was called Wako draft. Then it became to be called Kilifi draft because some people went to Kilifi and sat down and wrote to Kenyans what Kenyans wanted. So the original Bomas draft was thrown away. It was the people's draft. And that's what I'm telling people. When young people like us become president, by stroke of a pen, we reverse. Everything needs reverse gear until we go back to the factory settings. After factory setting, then we take the right direction because Kenyans took the wrong turn. When you take a wrong turn, you need a reverse. You need a restart. We need a pause button. And that's what we need to do. You need to overhaul this country. I don't want to tell you some drastic measures. If I become president, I can do. I don't want to say because if I tell you, I might be seen to be dangerous animal. But I can tell you, simply said in a few words, we need to return Kenya back to Kenyans. Constitutionally, resource-wise, value-wise, among any other things. But because if we don't return back Kenya to Kenyans and empower Kenyans, we are heading nowhere. That's why there's a lot of dissatisfaction between the president and people. And I wanted to add to Njiro's point earlier on that should we become the representation of the true feelings of the citizens in terms of dissatisfaction, in terms of unhappiness, that guy will be the opposition. The person who speaks to the heart and the minds of Kenyans and know exactly what they are feeling. And that's why, Njiri, you tell me, I'm independent because I'm speaking to Kenyans what Kenyans are going through. I don't care what your opinion is. And I want to tell Njiru and young people, let us stop discussing about these people. No one pays us to go discuss about William Ruto, go discuss about Martha Karua. We should discuss about our country, like Kipi saying, what's our constitutional framework? What's our economic ideology? What values do we need to see? Which kind of leaders do we need to lead? Which kind of leadership ideology we need to have? These are more fundamental discussion than discussing these guys, because even if you talk negatively, they're very happy that you're talking about them. They're happy when you get annoyed with them because they know their spirit is still sitting on you. For me, my spirit, they don't have, their spirit is not in me. Me, I'm discussing about Mwanzo Mpya, J25. We're discussing about alternative leadership, Serikali Mbadala. Now, Uchumi Mbadala, afya mbadala, maisha mbadala, elimu mbadala, Kenya mbadala, mwananchi mbadala, na kila kitu mbadala. Na ndio hivyo tunaendelea, na hii mambo ya kudiscuss au wakora haitatusaidia.
Okay, asante sana. Najua labda Njiru pia atakuwa na swali. Unajua wakati ulikuwa umeanza kuongea, wakati tulikuwa tunaanza kipindi, ulizungumzia sana mambo ya mbadala, lakini nikauliza swali kwamba mambo ya mbadala inaweza kuwa tu kwa mambo ambao unasema, labda kama saa hizi tunazungumza, unasema mambo ya mbadala. Kuna mkakati ambapo wewe mwenyewe kama Mkenya ambao anaona kwamba tunafaa tukuwe na mambo mbadala, umeshaweka ama unaongea na Wakenya ambao labda wanafikiria venye wewe unafikiria, na ukiongea nao jibu?
Asante sana. Mambo uongozi mbadala was launched in Kilifi on 31st of December. I met with the Kaya Council elders and local leaders. Mambo mbadala ni hivi: hekima mashinani. Sijui kipu unatoka wapi, pengine unatoka Elgeyo Marakwet ama Nandi, sijui. Wanandi walikuwa na...
Did you guess that?
Sorry?
You guessed that so quickly. Correct. That's my county.
Elgeyo Marakwet. Yeah.
Elgeyo Marakwet kabisa hapo nyumbani.
Ukienda Elgeyo Marakwet, watu wako na hekima mashinani, vile waliishi Elgeyo Marakwet. Walikuwa nakula kabla serikali ikakuja. So serikali mbadala inaonyesha
hata mambo ya kugawa mashamba haikukuwa. It was community land.
Yeah. Sasa mtu anakuja ati anapeana title deeds. Ati hiyo ni kazi ya president mzima. So tunataka hekima mashinani. Tunatumia hekima mashinani, rasilimali mashinani, alafu tupate matunda mashinani. Na that's why Solomonic economics talks about regional economic blocks, whereby even, in fact, Benson, when I drafted a manifesto for Raila Odinga for all the 11 regions. I'll send you a clip when I said, Coast is a tourism sector. They need university that thinks about tourism. They need a bank that knows how to work with the tourists, like hotels and the rest. When you come to Rift Valley, is the bread basket of Kenya. You have to talk to these farmers so that you can find a bank that can lend to them. You don't have to find a commercial bank lending by monthly drawdown. How can a farmer pay monthly drawdown? That kila mwezi unalipa premium. No, it cannot. There must be a bank. Go to China, there's Agricultural Bank of China, ABC. Go look at the funding model, how they fund agriculture in China. But for us here, these guys go to China to go drink coffee in China Square and Chinese tea, then they come back and then they forget why they went to China. As an economist, I went to China. I talked to communities. They have a very good system to lend money to farmers in China. And the repayment rate is 99.9%. And there is no default. Because they check you from primary school, nursery school. Did you attend school? Did you do your assignments? What did your nursery school teacher take? Primary school, secondary school, university. Do you beat your wife? Your neighbors will check whether you drink and drive. So the data they have about you is so complete that they can predictively lend to you and you get. So, mbadala inamaanisha hekima mashinani, rasilimali mashinani, matunda mashinani. You cannot come from Nairobi and take to what Elgeyo Marakwet Hustler Fund. What is Hustler Fund? Are people from Elgeyo Marakwet hustlers? You come from Homa Bay. Are you from Migori, Serapogi? Are they hustlers? So these things are things which are foreign. And I can also tell you, I'm sorry you guys live in the US. As an economist, we should not be able to base our currency on the American dollar. Because what is a currency? A currency is whereby people should be buying things using gold or silver, and because those things are bulky, we give the value of the gold to the paper money, so that paper can now be used to do what gold can do. The gold we have a reserve, because every currency should be backed by gold. That's what we know. How much gold does America have? DRC has more gold than South Africa has more gold than the US. Why is their currency not bigger than the US dollar? Stronger. We have what you call Federal Reserve.
Because we all buy oil using the dollar. That is why. If we all used gold or other currencies, I don't think the US would survive. Yeah,
But
that's the reason.
that's why I send you a poster, Benson. The Gen Z and some people are telling me I should run for the position of UN Secretary General. Because I understand the global financial architecture was founded in 1945 when there is no single African country that existed. So the Western people set up the economic architecture. The global financial economic architecture was set in 1945. Which African country was independent? Then they colonized us to ensure that it was well embedded in all African countries. That global financial economic architecture was biased. It is being used by World Trade Organization, or WTO. Even how they trade, they do pharmaceutical manufacturing. Africa did not contribute anything to those things. So Africans are just watching. Even you talk about the issue of World Bank, how they were founded, Bretton Woods institutions. There was no single African in the room. So Hekima Mashinani means we have to become African. We have to sort of become Kenyan and respect every region so that every region can generate their goodies. How comes that if you go to a county like Bomet, has the highest life expectancy in Kenya? If you live in Bomet, you are more likely to live longer than living anywhere. And I'm sorry, Benson, you are from Homa Bay.
I'm from Migori County.
You are lucky, but Homa Bay has the worst life expectancy in Kenya. If you live in Homa Bay, you are more likely to die earlier than anybody living in Bomet. In Bomet, you can live until you are 116, or even there's somebody who can live until 126. Life expectancy in Bomet is more than 88 years. But Migori could be around 62. If you go to areas like Homa Bay is around 53, 54. So what we are saying here is that alternative government is resetting the system. It's about changing how the economy works, how people live. And I can tell you, we promise a welfare state. A welfare state is a state whereby, I told you earlier, where the citizen interest comes first. And Kenya is a social democracy by the constitution. The implementation is capitalism. It completely needs a reset. A social democracy is a welfare state. Benson, I'm sure you ever toured Europe. And even me, you in Jiru. When I was in Barcelona, when I was doing my PhD there, a 2.1 kg of chicken, the one they buy in the supermarket, could be 1.8 euros per piece. So if you convert that to euro, to Kenya shillings, that could be around 220 Kenya shillings, isn't it? Here, that one is 1,200. Those people have subsidized the agricultural input that goes to that chicken to make it that affordable to the people. For us here, we are paying 5 times what someone is eating in Spain. Take it to fish as well. We are spending a lot of money in education. Do you know, I've done research. There is 12 million 665 households in Kenya. Every household has an average of 3.4 children. You get me?
Yeah.
And they spend 66,800 thereabout per child, which means every household in Kenya spends around 233,000 shillings per year on education. So if you multiply 233,000 times 12,663,000, that is 2.84 trillion shillings are being used in education in Kenya by families. households, not government, households. Should you offer free primary and secondary education, you'll find that you have thrown a stimulus in the economy of 2.84 trillion shillings that can actually make people start buying electronics, they can start buying sofa sets, they can start buying luxury goods, and that's how the economy grows. But here, the government taxes like an elephant and services is like a mouse. And then if you go to the supermarket, you're on your own. You go to the first station, you're on your own. You go to hospital, you're on your own. So we are looking for a reset on how we manage our economies. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I call Serikali Mbadala. And this discussion, Benson, like now we have 152 candidates in our J25 movement who want to run for MCA, MP, Senator. They want to run for women rep. And we have not gotten governors, but also we have 3 people who want to run for president. I'm one of them. We are going to launch big time and ensure that we are not ruled by them. We will rule we will rule. We are not going to throw them away. They'll advise us, but as we lead, not them leading us. So Akina Kalonzo Musyoka, you can tell them, tell Martha Karua, tell Eugene Wamalwa, that the experience they have, we need that experience to run the country. But we need the knowledge that we have for today to run this country. We cannot run this knowledge using experience of 1964. And that's why sometimes Raila Odinga surprises me. When I was being asked, why do you want to become AUC chair? You know, in 1964, so excuse me, my dear, I know it's good to tell history, but sometimes history should be told in a historical class. We want to talk about what is the touch and feel of Africa? What are the pulses of Africa? What do you need to do now? Like I've experienced, but as a teacher, I have experience of how I was taught in 1996 when I was in St. Mary's as a Form 1. When I finished high school in 1999, I have that experience, but I cannot start using that experience to teach children of today. Nowadays, there's a computer, they have a phone. No, you have to teach them technology of today. So we must run this country with the software of today, but we shall seek advice from them if at all the software makes sense. But they cannot be a trusted leadership because you cannot be able to delegate your vision. And these people have no vision. Even I listened to those launches, yes, I didn't see any vision there. So Benson, anyway, I guess I've been able to answer all the questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I think, Njiru, do you have any question for Professor?
Yeah, please, I just wanted him to react to something very brief, maybe in 2 minutes, because maybe Anazakua, you want to go and attend something else. So, Professor, in my look of things, I have seen part of the reason why Africa, let me not zero grade it to Kenya alone, let me expand it to the whole of Africa and some countries which are not serious. Part of the reason why people have, nations have been unable to grow is because our presidency, once you get into power, it is very difficult for you to get out of there. I remember, I see like places like Britain, I think before they settled with this Starmer who is there was a lot of instability in the conservative government, whereby this one was coming, getting out. Like for example, in Britain, it is so easy to lose power as a prime minister, extremely easy. And I believe that is one of the reasons why these people have to become responsible, or you need a plan whereby you have to work for the people, because the capacity to lose power is so easy. Like to me, I believe that is one way of building a democracy, whereby once you get power, if you don't deliver, you can even lose it before the term ends. Why is it in Africa or in Kenya, we are not thinking in that dimension, whereby if you don't work, it is not the story of saying that you want to bring a re-election campaign. You can actually lose that power. Why is it that in Kenya, even as we are saying we want to improve our constitution, change our constitution, mbona kwa nini viongozi wa Kenya wanakaa ni kama wamekorogewa? Yani mtu akiingia hapo ameingia hapo.
You know, when you asked that question, Museveni was interviewed the other day, and he was asked that you are the longest serving president in Africa. Because actually it has been Paul Biya, but Paul Biya seems to be now senile, sort of. And he said, don't ask me how long I'll retire, of course, but let me ask you, how can Uganda transition to be a developed economy? So they believe that they are the people who can save the nation. Remember, Moi used to say, nikitoka nani anaweza. They always believe they are indispensable. Let me put it also simple. Do you know I'm a parent, and it has come to me that sometimes I should not be thinking that if I'm not here, my kids will suffer. Sometimes they might actually enjoy it. How they'll enjoy me, I don't know. You know, you might be thinking that, you know, if I'm not around, people will suffer. No, they might be okay. Huh? And I also remember when I was in Spain, there's a joke. I'm just telling you this to make you feel easy before I give you my point. Franco was the president of Spain, and he was a dictator. So there's a day Franco was flying over Catalonia, which is the city he hated. He hated Catalonia just like now Ruto hates Kikuyu, or now how Ruto used to hate Jaluo or whatever. I don't know who hates who. It does not matter. But he was flying over Catalonia. So then he carried, you know, 100 shilling, 100 euro is a lot of money by that time. So he had 100 shillings euro note akasema, if I throw this money down in Catalonia, see, Catalonia people will be very happy. Then the captain told him, actually, no. If you throw yourself down, they'll be very happy, not the money. What was the pilot telling the president by then? That you have been here for too long. And their problem is you being there longer. So most presidents normally think that if they are not there, people will suffer, there'll be no instability. How can Uganda be stable without Museveni? Is it those kind of things? People must know that they have to start a project and leave a project. When you come to office, have long-term, short-term, and medium-term. Long-term are the plans you have that your successor can go on with. Medium plan are plans that your successor will take as short-term. Short-term are plans you get from your predecessor. Like now, what was Uhuru Kenyatta's project? They become the short-term plans for William Ruto. But when Ruto came, he dismantled everything for Uhuru and began his own. Now he discovers that it's too short to finish them. And he has actually achieved nothing. That's why you saw the interview. Out of the 281, what have you done? It was 14. So he has scored only 95%. But actually, no, he has only scored 5%. So actually, for me, I believe it's less than 5%. But maybe because I'm his opposition. People feel indispensable. Mm-hmm. When I was a professor in Strathmore, I used to wonder, if I leave, who will teach strategy? I left. Somebody teaching strategy. And life goes on. I'm sure when you are a prefect in school, you used to think if you leave, no one will be a prefect. You left school how many years ago? People are there. The school is running. And there's a prefect. You are a head boy. You thought you are the only head boy. So people don't understand that there's vanity of life, that there's just something God sent you. Like, for example, Pope Francis, may God encourage him to recover from illness. There's something God sent him to do, and he has done it. Pope Francis, for Benedict XVI, Pope John Paul II, and the Pope who brought Vatican II. Everybody must know that when you're given a chance, just do what you can do and move on. If I would become president, of course, I'm happy in Kenya. It's only 10 years maximum. But why must you do 10 years when you're of this service? Removing the president is the hardest thing. And let me go to a solution, because it's important to go to a solution. In the US, the locus of control in parliament and executive sits at the political party. That's why it's easy to remove a president. If you go to South Africa, the locus of control sits at the party. That's why when Zuma went out of the way, ANC recalled Zuma in an election and installed Ramaphosa, and Ramaphosa became president. So the same thing to Labour Party. If at all you are a president not performing, the Labour Party leaders can come together and say, no, we need another leader. Then another leader emerges. So in Kenya, William Ruto cannot be recalled by UDA. Had UDA had powers to recall who is their leader, and if their leader by extension become the president, recalling William Ruto will be as something taking a cup of tea like UK and you go. You know, we saw when we were brought down, there was this guy called Tony Blair. Then Gordon Brown came in. Then we had David Cameron. Then we had Theresa May. They changed like pants, no? But in Kenya, changing a president looks like the world is going to fall over.
Prof, you're talking about political parties, but if you know, all these our political parties are individually owned, so they cannot do that recall, you know very well.
Yeah.
Because like the owners are the people who are calling the shots.
So that I'm trying to let you know, the parties we are forming under J25 are not individual owned.
Yeah.
Where the checkbook and the party ticket is under somebody's bedroom. For you to get a ticket for ODM, you must speak to Ida. Why should someone speak to my wife to get a ticket for a party? If I'm the party leader.
Is your party?
No. The political party, by definition, should belong to the people. That's why you cannot change a party leader without a national delegates conference. But in Kenya, there is no political party. I'll send you an article in that direction. Actually, we discussed this, Benson, on your show.
Yeah.
Where we said that in Kenya, they are just called sororities and fraternities. Where, so you had Nyong'o was put as a party leader to take over from Raila. Which delegates conference took place for that to happen? Raila appointed him when he landed in Kisumu Airport. Now, when Raila did not get the AUC, he landed back and took it back without any meeting. Now, even there's no announcement. He just took it back like somebody who left his glass on top of the table, then picked it and started drinking with it. Now he's celebrating the 20 years in Busia as the party leader. Do you know, Benson, if you read article, actually it's article 91 of the Constitution.
Yep.
Within that article, there is no political party that succeeds to be one. Do you know, I want to give you a strategy if you want to do this. 1 week to the election, if you can get a court order from that article that can suspend all political parties from being political party after they have nominated their candidates, there might be no election in Kenya. Because there's none. There's none that has merited the requirement to become a political party. When did ODM have their elections? UDA did theirs and it failed. If IBC now needs 66 billion shillings to do election in 2027, UDA spent 26 million to do national primaries. Does it make sense? Can you spend 26 million to do election in all polling stations, which are around 3,800 and above? So what I'm trying to say, there's a sham going on. Until that is fixed, Njiru, it will be very difficult to remove a president because then it looks like you're playing. We went to the street. Actually, using the article 91, another article, we are organizing J27, which we can go to court and claim that power should be given to us as Gen Z because we are already overthrown the government on June 25th. You'll see some kind of caricatures and many things here which are going to be legal shenanigans. I've won cases in court because I'm telling you, my brother, this law in Kenya, you can cut what you want.
Okay. All right. Jeru, I know maybe Professor would want to leave. I don't know whether you have any question for Professor, because I want to give you that opportunity too.
You know, I really appreciate his time here.
Yeah.
Without even wanting to keep him very much, I just wanted to give him a point to go and ponder. Unajua hata mwalimu anaambianga na wanafunzi. It's just a point to go and ponder. Bwana Ogola, in my in my thinking, I have dissected the problem which we have in Kenya, and this is a problem. Our problem is simple. You see, what happens is that everything starts with governance, and our governance is so much unfriendly to the people that it cannot be responsible. I watch protests everywhere. Everywhere you see, people will always protest peacefully, but when it comes to my country Kenya, hata leo tu tuseme tuko na maandamano hapo CBD, the government responds with military energy, like they respond like it is a pronunciation of terrorists coming. So I think if there is a way in which we can be able to decant that fear, because I think it's the government which fear us. When they hear citizens are assembling, the only thing they are thinking is how wanakuja kupindua serikali. That is what they are thinking. Like, they don't think that people can come, we talk, and we agree on something. So this is what I've been thinking throughout my life, either through constitutional means or through a way of coming into terms through understanding. In Kenya, we have to start thinking of a government which is people-centered, as you say, a government which does not fear its people, and a government which has capacity to lose power if people don't want it. Like ati maandamano moja kubwa hapo Nairobi, it is enough for the president to come and resign. I think that is what we have been unable to put in our constitution: capacity to lose a government in an overnight. If we can be able to reach that level, the government will become more responsible because they fear. Do you know the reason why Ruto cannot become responsible? Because yeye anajua amekorogewa hapo. He knows, Ruto knows, yes, he can go out, but for him to go out is bloodshed. You see, ni kitu anajua ya kwamba, like, but Ogola, you know, I'm just trying to be practical on the situation. We are saying that we don't want Ruto to get a second term, which is true. But for Ruto not to get a second term, I end evil. It will be brutality. It is not like it is a consensus whereby we have gone and voted and we have rejected that person. You'll see the things which they will be meandering. So you as experts and many people, sababu naona Mungu anaweza tupea miaka ingine hapo mbele, if we can be able to come up with a way to make leadership a little bit absorbent to people, instead of having that leadership whereby kazi yao ni kutuambia a leader akikuja kwetu anakuja with so much anakuja ni kama, yani, like, tunamuogopa sana kiongozi, like, yani kiongozi ni kama he is more than a king, because I believe African leaders are more than kings. Unakuta yani lazima cordon sijui nini, there is so much budget. Kama sasa unaona sasa budget ya president ni kubwa kuliko budget ya agriculture. Unaona sasa such things, and we cannot question as citizens. It is abnormal at Mr. Ruto will still have another day in presidency, yet his office is spending more money than agriculture, and still Kenyans are walking in the streets and the only question tunajiuliza ni tufanyaje. I think that is the problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Before
you're very right.
Okay, go ahead.
You're very right, because when I was being anointed in Kilifi with the Kaya elders and religious leaders, within no time he sent 28 policemen with the OCS, OCPD, and DCIO. And I wondered why are you doing that? Fear. But the solution we brought in the Constitution amendment, which didn't go through because IBC was locked for long, and that was called Mwananchi Bill, where we said hakuna mamlaka bila madaraka. Hakuna madaraka bila mamlaka. You're being told you're free, but you don't have powers to make any decision. I'm just looking at the thing here, yes. I don't know that you can see this. Debe kabla debe.
Yeah.
Hakuna mamlaka, hakuna madaraka bila mamlaka. So someone tells you that you got independence, but you do not have powers to make decisions. This has been thwarted again. I was arrested on the very day we were to launch. We didn't even launch it. Before we launched, I was arrested, plus my team were in the cell for 2 days. So what I'm trying to say, you're very right and spot on. We wanted to give people power to go and vote and remove a president because Parliament has failed to do their duty. And let me tell you what, Jill, it was possible if Parliament was not bought. But when someone has captured the institution with money and police, like I said, and the military, there's nothing you can do. Go on, Benson.
Okay, Prof, labda nikuulize tu swali kwa sababu nia yako kubwa ni kukomboa nchi na we ni miongoni ya wale ambao watakuwa wanagombea urais kulingana na maneno yako. Ikifika mahali ambapo nyinyi ambao mnataka kugombea msikilizane, mseme kwamba kuna mtu mmoja ama kuna jamaa mmoja miongoni wenyu mwenye anataka kuwa rais, utakubali kuungana na yeye ama mtaenda sawa tu mseme kwamba mimi naenda, mimi pia nakimbia, kwa sababu watu wanataka uongozi bora? Utakuwa na hiyo nafasi kwako kwanza kusema kwamba basi wacha mimi nisigombee urais, wacha nikupatie support yangu?
Asante sana. In J25, we shall produce a presidential candidate. Currently, we have 3. The numbers might go to 8. And because the number must go to 8, we are going to do primaries, no boardroom negotiation.
Yeah.
We want the citizens to give us the candidate. And this is how we shall do it. We divide the country into 11 regions. We go and camp in one region for 1 week. One day, one county. Second day, the other county. For example, let's go to Coast Province. We have Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Taita Taveta, Tana River, Lamu. Yes, those are the counties, and Taita Taveta. So those 6 counties, we camp there campaigning as a team of 8 people. Then we allow those counties to vote for us. So if we win those counties, let's say somebody wins 2, somebody wins 3, we go to Western region. We go to Mount Kenya. The first person to get 24 counties becomes the candidate. Now, if other people believe they were only there because they wanted to come, let them leave now, but we have the people. Because that's the process. Because boardroom negotiations normally sometimes become very dicey. So we have a process to that. In fact, by the time 8 people are competing in Coast Province, just that week, that movement will be very popular.
Okay. All right, Mr. Professor, maybe if Lee Njiru has something to add, or somebody on the comment section, you are at liberty to leave, because I know tomorrow you will be very busy somewhere. And for that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for taking your time to be with me here. You've always been here with me, and may God bless you. If I have any interview, you can also, Njiru also has a channel. Njiru, this is the best time you can also have a conversation with the professor. You give him a time at your channel so that he can speak to your audience and answer those questions that people want to know. So this is another opportunity. If you need his contact, just reach out to me. I will give you, so you can have a conversation with him, so that you can plan and have a show with the professor.
Thank you very much, Bwana Ben and Bwana Professor, for coming here. Bwana Professor, unajua, the reason why our country went to the dogs is that the reason why nchi yetu ilienda to the dogs is that for the last 60 years we allowed the dogs to talk. You know, and when I talk the dogs in quote, I'm talking of people without information, or people couldn't bring us together. So that is what made our country go to the dogs. Technocrats and elites are coming a little bit late. You can imagine from 1963 or there before up to now, we have been taking a backseat when it comes to political system. I remember my grandfather before he died, he used to tell us that siasa ni ya wakora. That is my no, I'm telling you the truth, but that is a man who was born in pre-colonial era. Alikuanga tu anasema tu siasa ni ya wakora, and he died knowing that siasa ni ya wakora. So I think Bwana Ogola, it could be late, but it is our. We have just come into politics when politics has gotten that jini yake imeharibiwa sana. No wonder even you even hear like in our country, I don't know if it is a global term, ati watu wanasema ati politics is dirty. It's a game of ati siasa ni chafu. Like I have never heard people saying that we can do clean politics. I hope we can redefine politics. Maybe one thing which I would like, maybe ukuje kwa show yangu so that you can help us to understand. Maybe nataka kukupea so that you can pardon on it. I would like you to help me understand. Maybe in our show, maybe nitakupigia alafu we plan. Do you think in Kenya there is a possibility of planning politics either as right wing or left wing? I'm just trying to ask, like, can we have like a philosophy? Because I always say like in the West, right wingers, they know the expectations. Left wingers, they know the expectation. The central one, they know the expectation. Could that one be a more long-lasting solution? If you do an election, you know what you expect. Kuliko kama hii ya kupigia Ruto, anakuambia nitaleta mama mboga na nini, alafu akiingia pale anapiga roundabout. Alafu sasa anaanzia sasa mabwenyenye wake sasa ndio wanaleta machopa Kenya bure. It's something I want us to think, because Kenyan politics is a politics of deceit. Mtu anakuambia nikiingia pale nitafanya hivi. Na mnampea kura kwa energy yote. Ile yani mnatokezea kabisa. Actually, Africans vote more than anywhere in the world. Turnout in Africa is the biggest. I have studied it. Like in Africa, people vote. So story ya kujua maana ya kupiga kura, Africans know. That is why watu tokezea. That is why we even go to the extent of appeasing people more than others. In Kenya tunanunuliana hata pombe ili ukapige kura. In Europe
you bribe somebody to vote by all means.
By all means. Because we know the importance of vote. Actually, Bwana Professor, if there are people who know the reason why people should vote, is Africans. That is why we carry them. Ndio tunawabeba na magari. Hiyo siku tunakuwa, we are very serious, and I want you Bwana Professor, look at the election season in Africa. It is 15 times serious than American one. Americans are not serious with voting. You know that. They are not serious. Wako tu hapo tu hapo. But in Africa, Kenya, you end up hiyo siku ya kura, yani unasikia sasa ati hii siku uwezi piga campaign sasa, ukienda kwa ballot, sijui ukienda kwa polling station, uwezi pita hapa, uwezi pita. Like, we take it with, I think, is it serious to us or serious to the people we are voting? It's a question we need to ask. So Bwana Professor, go and think about that, because until we understand why are we taking this thing so important, and at the same time it is not helping us. Yani kila Mkenya anasema kama saa hii we are talking about 2027. Is it going to rescue us? Like sasa tunasema sasa 2027. Is that the cure? Ama tu tunataka tu it is like ni kama ile sasa tunataka kubadilisha Panadol na mara moja. Unajua pia that could also be another thing, Bwana Professor. Unajua sasa wewe ni mgonjwa, umekuwa ukitumia Panadol, unasema maybe Panadol hainiponyi. Unasema sasa wacha sasa nichukue mara moja. So ili sasa mtu akikuulizia mbona uponi? Bado hata nimetumia dawa mbili, so you have a story. So it looks like us we are creating a story. So Prof, we respect your wisdom, especially in these independent channels of ours here. Thank you wherever you are going. Brother Benson atanishikanisha na wewe. Enjoy your evening. Mimi sina lingine. I think you have told us more than enough. Your presidential ambitions are very viable, by the way. Mtu asianzie kukuuliza base yako iko wapi. You have a very big base. Unajua, that's one of, if you will be able to present your information well to people with the proper explanatory people somewhere, I know people like Akina Brother Benson. We are tired, by the way, with Kenyan politics. If we are able to get people, unajua some of us hata hatutaki tulipwe ama we want to be there. Si ati nasema ati uniweke kwa siasa yako. That's what unajua. So, but what we are saying, some of us hata tumefika level whereby if there is a place whereby we can help in our nation to get disinfected, at least we see we can be able now to get that unpopular man. We have seen some African countries have been able to reach that level whereby jamaa anatoka tu na huko kwa streets na anakuja na sisemi ati tunatoka kwa streets, unajua unaweza sema sasa huyu jamaa anasema but so what I'm trying to say is mtu ambaye ana footing serious in politics. So like I saw it in Ivory Coast. There's a guy in Ivory Coast anaitwa Fire. I heard he was alikuwa huko kwa jera.
It is in Senegal.
Yeah, Senegal. Jamaa alikuwa jera, then within 3 weeks akakuja akakampaign na akakuwa kiongozi. How it happened I don't know. Na akashinda hao ma oligarch wote, akashinda pesa yote. So it is possible actually to do this thing. So as long as the willingness is there na watu wameshikwa core na mashida yao, because let me tell you bwana prof, mimi naongea tu na watu like I was talking with an old woman in a place where I come from. Si hata saa hii almost last year hivi. Alikuwa anauliza sasa na hii kura tunapiganga miaka 5.
Inaenda
Kwa nini tusipigange after 2 years? Such that wewe unapiga ukinote ulifanya makosa you can repeat. Si miaka 5 ni mingi sana. And I have now come to realize that actually Kenyans are debating the issues of is a 5 years presidential term too big? Because 5 years presidential term is too big for a wrong leadership. Mukienda pale mpate kiongozi mbaya, 5 years is a golden age. Ni miaka mingi sana. Lakini mukienda pale mpate kiongozi ambaye anawaelewa and things are okay. And then unajua pia bwana Ogola kuna kitu inaitwa boredom in leadership. That is why like even if you are a very good leader, hata ukuwe yani wewe ni kiongozi anatoa sukari. And after like 5 or 6 years watu wanakuzoea and wanaona sasa huyu mtu atutaki tena. People want that change. We understand that. So we have now to reach a level whereby by the time we are talking about second term is about reward. We are rewarding you because of the good things you have done, or we are punishing you. So it should be 1+1. Me, that's what I take it. Presidential term should be 1+1. Tunakugonga miaka 5, kama hatukupendi tunakutoa. Because you know bwana Ogola, as I finish my statement now, for me I think we don't have a 100% perfect man. But the problem which we have, even America, is not that they get perfect men. But in America, the reason why they are able to get progressive change, niyo story ya kubadilisha sana. They know even if it is Trump, ni miaka 4 hiyo story ishe. If it is Joe Biden, ni miaka 4 hiyo story ishe. So in your mind, you know you can lock yourself, unasema hii miaka 4 wacha nijifunge, nivumilie hii mashida, it will go away. But in Kenya, it is not that way. Mtu ako hapo na bado ana threaten hata kubadilisha katiba akae hapo miaka 24. Unaona sasa? So you are talking about somebody ambaye aliingia hapo ukiwa teenager, anataka kutoka hapo ukiwa unaitwa grandfather. That is what we So those are some of the depression which cannot actually make Africans to be productive. You know, part of the reason which make a nation being productive is having a healthy democracy. Hiyo tu inakufanya tu you feel happy to work for your nation. Unaona hii kitu inaitwa patriotism. Patriotism is something cosmetic. Ni kitu tu ukiona tu nchi yako iko mzuri, things are working well, hata wewe you know, I even heard in China, you talked about China, nikumalizia na hii. In China, I heard that there are even people who are saying they don't want to be paid. Kuna watu hawataki kulipwa mishahara, ama even if they don't want to be, ama watu wengine they are even being paid very low salaries which they can actually, and in other countries they can earn very big salaries. I even heard in China some Chinese even refuse to work in the West where they have started, where they are getting big salaries, and they actually go and work. They actually go and work to their country to get mega salaries. And why do they do that? Because they are able to monitor the progress which is happening in their country. Na mtu anaona hata nikiweka damu yangu hapa, damu yangu haiende bure. Lakini nikuulize bwana Ogola sahi, at the moment we speak, sahi hata nikiwekelea damu yangu Kenya, is it going to be paid? Hiyo damu yangu, is it going to help the children who are not born? That is what is frustrating us. But if today I knew that my president is a good patriotic man, he is working for the welfare of my country, I have no problem of even putting my blood there. Because let me tell you, countries are fighting for future. Na kama sasa wa Marekani, they are busy competing with China. It's not a race of individuals who is richer than the other. Ukiangalia in global stage is countries competing with each other. Sisi ndio tu tunashindana my individuals. Ogola want to be richer than this one. Instead of us thinking of how we can outdo our regional bloc, of how we can be able to attract investment in Congo, wapi hiyo pesa yote iletwe kwetu. We are busy we Kenyatta family competing with the Ruto family, Ruto family competing with Mudavadi family. A very small battle ya watu wamepotea njia. Asante. Tutaongea zaidi.
Yeah, just I think we want to finish, but there's something you said which is very sensitive. You need to highlight that the professional who fear politics. There's a quote from Lee Kuan Yew, who says that if good people don't join politics, bad people will. So tell professionals that this is the time to back their fellow professional. Actually, my candidature is being branded with the issue I'm a professional, I'm a professor. So it might slightly be different candidature anyway if I succeed to get the ticket from the J25. And of course, what you say is very clear that when you go to the social media for Japan, South Korea, and China, you see young people inviting other people to visit their country. For us in Kenya, we say this is a disaster. Hata ukisema ati jambo gani, hakuna matata, sisi tuko na matata mingi. So we need to sort out this matata, then actually we can be able to capture the region. Thank you very much for hosting me. I'm looking forward, Linjiru, to discuss Maja in your show. Benson, if you don't mind, send me your email address.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm having something called diaspora strategy.
Okay.
I sent it one of my friends in UK. He has circulated to somebody who is advisors to MPs in UK.
Yeah.
To find how they can be able to support my presidential ambition through diaspora.
All right. So I'll share my email with you. Then I'll get the information, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Professor, you are at liberty to leave. And I say thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. And may God bless you till I meet you again, Mr. Professor. Okay, Njiru, thank you so much. And I'm seeing your fan base is here. Let me take this opportunity to thank you with your fan base for joining me in my show. And I would request them on your behalf to be part of my conversation because we are doing the same thing. And I thank you so much again for joining me in the conversation with the professor. So if anytime there's another guest, I will let you know so you come and we interact and get these answers that our viewers and our fan base might be asking back to you.
Yeah, let me also take this time to react to what Professor was saying today. It's a very, very rich conversation. I don't think you can get it from a politician. At least we were able to get unreturned serious information from Professor, and I hope he will be able to move with the same energy and synergy in his political path. Siasa isiende ikambadilisha, because again kuna kuanga na shida ya siasa hiyo. Siasa ni kama inakuanga na a demon spike. Let me not say ni kama inakuanga na a demon spike. A very serious man becomes useless. So I'm not saying, but there are those people still who do not change, so we understand that. I hope that he will be able to move in that path of wanting to transform Kenya, because really Kenya need messiahs. We cannot move in this trajectory because unajua, let me tell you, Bwana Benson, unajua ile kitu iko, as Kenya is wasting time, other countries are not wasting time. So you know, manchi zingine utakuta they have made giant strides. Let me tell you something. China, which is becoming a global model of analysis, in 1979, in 1979, China was behind Nigeria. Like Nigeria, Nigeria, Africa hapa. Today, China is investing in the whole world combined.
Yes.
Within a span of 50 years. Things which you cannot fathom. So what do I mean? What I mean is that nations change, and na hizi vitu zinabadilishwa na viongozi. So Africa with the proper leadership, we just need to invent leadership. Hiyo ndio ile kitu tumeshindwa na kuinvent. Sisi we are very busy inventing corruption. We are very busy inventing things which do not work. But if we invent leadership, we can actually change Kenya. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And before just to leave, there's something that you've said that nilikuwa nimeshika ni kwamba unapata kwamba the higher percentage of how African votes and even like how we go. And I think is being driven by the leaders that we elect, and the people that we are voting for, because they compete in how they're going to muzzle wealth. The interest of the country, I think, is usually secondary to them. Their first thing is how will I get the money? And if I get this money, and the only way to get this money is to be in such like position. So they invest on how they can go or they can get elected. So that is their first investment. How can I get elected and make sure that I buy my way out? So after buying my way out, I'm going to amass wealth. Naenda kupata mali. Huko ndio Canaan is there, So I think that's why like then people are motivated by that, Yeah, mtu akupatia hata 200 pale kwa wakati unataka kupiga kura, unapata unabadilisha mawazo. Hata kama ulikuwa unataka kwenda kupigia mtu ambaye alikuwa na maono mzuri kwa inchi ama kwa eneo fulani, lakini kwa sababu ule mwingine hana view ama hana nini, tunaweza sema kwa ama vision, lakini yako na pesa, you end up voting for him just because he has given you money. So I think that could be one of the reasons too. And Mato analia hapa anasema msimujibu swali yangu nitawanyo wa munyoro. Mato, swali gani sasa? Did you see any question for Mato? Ama nilipitia.
Wewe. No, brother Benson, wachana na Mato. Mato anajaribu he is trying to make himself important. You need to know. Okay. Anajaribu kujifanya panelist. Nishamuelewa.
Okay, Mr. Njiru, once again, thank you so much. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank your fan base. Many of them are here, and I really appreciate their time to have me join me for almost 2 hours.
Na by the way, wakusubscribe. My dear friends, wako hapa, I think sijui PGR, akina Eve Mwangi, tafadhali. Subscribe my brother Benson. Yani, let's do ile kitu tunaita nini, free subscription. Wa brother Benson muende kwangu mupige hiyo subscription, na wale wako kwangu mufanye free pande ingine.
Okay. So, do you have anything to say before we close down? Because I know you are having another show coming.
Yeah, mimi ni appreciate wase. I'm really happy for that rich dialogue. I think now kama akina Ogola wanaweza fika hapa, wewe bwana Benson bwana usikaije dharau bwana. Kama akina bwana Ogola wanaweza fika hapa bwana, wewe hata umekuwa mkereketwa sasa.
I can try to organize. I know is I don't know whether if you can join. If I manage to get him, we can come with you and engage him.
No problem.
Somebody who is a strong supporter of the UDA. I can get him.
Yeah, no problem. Sisi we are extremely independent. Sisi hatunanga shida.
Okay. Now let me organize. If I get him, I will let you know so we co-host together and make those questions so we can ask those questions.
Okay, Nisawa. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, my brother, and I appreciate you and together with your team for 1 hour being with me on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you together with your team.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.